this drill is going to work on the outside shoulder control in the turn a little bit. So before I go to the pattern and on the pattern work, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check in and make sure that the outside shoulder is working both ways. So I'm going to ask my horse to walk forward. I'm just going to take my outside rein, lay it on with my outside leg, and just make sure that that outside shoulder is coming around. So I'm going to step, make sure that that outside shoulder is kind of following one way. Then I'm going to go the other way, check that outside shoulder. And what I'm looking for is for when I lay this rein, I want to feel this foot come over and across. Now, if I run into a bit of an issue where it's not coming, I might need to free up the inside front foot. Before I go back into that, I might need to do some backing so they're not walking out of the turn. It's just going to really be horse dependent. So that's the very first thing I'm going to do before I go to this drill is check in and make sure the body parts are working. Okay, you can stop there. I've got cones set out in my pattern, and that's, just go ahead and show the cones to that one, and then the second, and then the third. Now those go back to me. Those cones are points that I want to get my horse to before I ask for that outside shoulder to kind of come over. So I'm using them as visual markers for myself more than for the horse. So what it's going to look like, so you're basically going to bring this horse into your first barrel approach like normal, or from wherever, because I want her to hit these points. So I'm just demonstrating this at the walk so that you can kind of see where I'm going. And you can change the markers according to how your horse needs to turn. But for this mare, we're just going to kind of set them fairly simplistic, far enough away from the barrel. I'm going to kind of elevate my hands slightly. There, I'm just going to add a little outside rein at each of the cones, using my calves to kind of push her into the bridle. And I'm going to walk up to my third barrel, and I asked her to pick up a trot just so I can kind of speed up the drill a little for you. I'm going to sit deep in my saddle, ask her to kind of move forward into that stop, and then ask her to slowly come around, bringing the outside shoulder around. So my focus is the outside shoulder. Okay, so I'm going through this at a trot now. We're just going to kind of come through it. I'm going to keep myself nice and square. Keep my horse square, sit deep in my saddle, push my with my calves, and then use my hands to kind of position her where I want. Cruise her over, keeping a nice straight line, keeping her nice and straight. Drive her into that bridle. Right there, she kind of wanted to fight a little. She wants to get into that turn a little sooner than I want her to. But I'm going to keep pushing her forward. I'm going to keep my hands nice and quiet, and I'm going to use my calves to push her forward while still sitting in my seat like I'd want to do anywhere else. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to use that inside rein to kind of block them from moving, and we're going to use our legs to kind of keep them pushing forward. We're going to use that outside rein to kind of bring that outside shoulder in, because what you'll see with a lot of barrel horses that are overbent is their head kind of comes around and they still kind of crouch you a little, but that outside shoulder is left out here in that outside rein. So what this is doing is it's going to kind of work on all of it together. So you're going to bring your horse in and be sitting nice and deep in your seat like you would if you were running. You're going to block that inside shoulder or inside from turning, and then you're just going to lay the rein on the neck at the points of these cones just to get that outside shoulder captured a little bit so that you can kind of get it back under itself so the horse stays more square in the turn.